I presume you're here in order to learn of Magecraft. I'll have you know, there's no room for the weak-willed in this course, and despite your best efforts, the sorcery of our time is but a fraction of what it once was in the Age of Gods. Much of the craft is established through pedigree, and the culture of mages is riddled with deception and moral depravity. That said, if you insist, I shall do my best to educate you in this miserable, yet fascinating world.
In our previous lesson, I covered the beasts of humanity, expanding our traditional understanding of Magecraft by learning about the broader mysteries of our world. Continuing in that vein, I hope to mention demons, or Oni-kind, and the now defunct demon hunter organization that fought them. Not only will this contribute to your repertoire of mystical creatures, but hopefully it will introduce you to some interesting psychic abilities as well. In the context of Magecraft, demon is a bit of a blanket term for beings that distort the laws of nature through mana. At first glance, this might sound like the very definition of a mage, but the distinguishing factor here is that demons aren't just using magical energy, but are actually magical beings themselves. In many cases, demons and monsters are referred to interchangeably, with many of them overlapping as phantasmal species. Asterios, the famed Minotaur, for instance, was born as a monster. Medusa, after transforming into the cursed Gorgon monster, also counts as a demon. Succubi and occasionally vampires qualify as well, but for our purposes, the specific kind of demon we'll be investigating today are the Oni-kind. Oni are a race of Japanese demi-humans that take many shapes. Most often, they appear as malicious horned goblins that live in mountains and caves. Akuji no Takamaru, or King Akuji, fits this description. Not all male Oni are quite so monstrous, however. Otakemaru, for example, maintains a more humanoid shape. A great many Oni also happen to be female. Otakemaru's killer, Suzuka Gozen, also has demon blood, despite lacking the iconic horns. A more pure-blood example would be Shuten Doji, the seductive demon who basked in luxury atop Mount Oe. Since ancient times where most of these Oni thrived, there have been many human families that sought to crossbreed with them. This blend of genetic traits gave way to mixed bloods, humans with abnormal powers. Such abilities include superhuman strength, regenerating one's own body, absorbing the heat or life force of others, and even controlling Shikigami, a form of Japanese familiar. The dynamic between Oni and mixed bloods parallels that of true ancestors and their dead apostles. Not only do mixed bloods derive from pure-blood Oni, they also suffer a similar setback akin to the dead apostles' bloodlust. In the case of mixed bloods, humans need to avoid being completely consumed by their demon blood. They suffer from inversion impulses, which rob them of their sanity. On an even greater scale, some mixed bloods can fully succumb to inversion, becoming what we call crimson red vermilion. In exchange for tremendous might, humans who reach this stage can no longer return to normal, and will spend the rest of their days as bloodthirsty monsters. This was helpful in ancient Japan when other phantasmal species still roamed. Minamoto no Raiko, for instance, actually used these mixed blood powers to slay Oni. Tomoe Gozen, who inherited Oni blood from her mother, used her powers as a famous soldier against the tyrannical Taira clan. In the modern day, however, this Oni blood is detrimental. Mixed blood clans hoping to integrate with modern society must do so by suppressing their powers. The esteemed Tono Family, for example, has a strict policy of killing any of its members that happen to invert. The family's head, Makihisa Tono, takes drugs to restrain his Oni blood, and avoids inversion by forcing himself on the young housemaid Kohaku. She and her sister Hisui have synchronization, a type of psychic ability that lets them transfer energy through bodily fluids. Kohaku's suffering aided Makihisa till his death, and thereon as a source of blood for his daughter Akiha. Akiha in particular has very thick Oni blood, and she approaches crimson red vermilion when her adoptive brother Shiki returns to the Tono mansion. The Tonos maintain relations with various branch families, such as the Saikis, who also carry Oni blood. The Kishimas are the most powerful mixed bloods by far, with the assassin Koma Kishima having already turned crimson red vermilion. As a child, his clan tried to hide him in isolation. Kept in a dark, traditional Japanese room, he grew up with minimal socialization, only learning to restrain his inversion impulse. He knew he was a monster and accepted his confinement to protect his family. That is, until his kin were hunted down and slaughtered. This brings us to our main topic. For as long as there have been Oni, there have also been demon hunters. More specifically, there is the Demon Hunter Organization, a unity of 4 ancient families that fight back against Oni and mixed bloods through the use of psychic abilities. In general, psychic powers, or extrasensory perception, ESP, are a form of magecraft that cannot be taught. Rather, they are born from a mutation that allows an individual to perceive reality in a unique way. Think of it like an extra channel for perception, a sixth sense that only those who possess it understand. Normally, psychic powers are both spontaneous and extremely rare, but demon hunters have found ways to increase their chance of developing between generations. It is ironic, however, because psychic powers in the modern era are considered detrimental in the same way that inversion impulse is. Hunters gained these powers to fight mixed bloods, but now that so few of them remain, said powers have become dangerous and unwanted. This means that both the Oni-kind and demon hunters are just shadows of their former selves, doing their best to blend in with society in spite of the unique abilities that allowed them to thrive in generations prior. Ultimately, the Demon Hunter organization consists of 4 families: the Nanaya, Ryogi, Fujo, and Asakami. The most iconic are the Nanayas, a family that stubbornly continued to fight mixed bloods even in the modern age. Thanks to this, they were targeted as a major threat. After the family's head, Kiri Nanaya, slaughtered most of the Saiki family, Makihisa Tono arranged to fight back. Makihisa recruited Koma Kishima, who used his demonic power to slaughter the Nanayas, just as his own clan had been decimated. Kiri Nanaya was killed in the ensuing chaos, but his son, Shiki Nanaya, was suspiciously spared and adopted into the Tono family. Makihisa must have taken pity on the boy, because his own son happened to also be named Shiki. Due to the trauma of seeing his family massacred by Koma Kishima, Shiki Nanaya walled off those painful memories. Even so, his instincts as a demon hunter still emerge from time to time. This, paired with the mystic eyes of death perception he developed from a fatal injury, makes him especially deadly. Not to be confused with Shiki Nanaya or Shiki Tono is Shiki Ryogi, heir to the Ryogi family. Since way back, the Ryogis have fostered a psychic ability for dual personalities. Under the belief that a person can only master one skill in their entire lifetime, the Ryogis create a second personality so that they may master 2 separate skills. This psychic ability might not sound too dangerous for the modern era, but a great many of the Ryogi have wound up losing their sanity from being unable to mediate their 2 selves. There's always the risk that Ryogi heirs will develop murderous tendencies. It's really no surprise then that this family thrives in modern society as a Yakuza sect. Shiki Ryogi, their current heir, was born with the origin of nothingness, giving her a direct connection to the root. When awakened to this origin as an infant, Shiki's base personality rejected this enormous power by receding beneath 2 other personalities, one male and the other female. After trauma of her own, a suicidal car impact, Shiki developed her own variant of the mystic eyes of death perception. It's ironic that, rather than hunting demons as her ancestors once did, Shiki has more experience fighting against the other remaining demon hunting families. Of them are the Asakami, who now live on through their branch family, the Asagamis. Their psychic ability is telekinesis, allowing them to bend and manipulate physical objects with their minds. The main family, the Asakami, once began to worship the very demons they hunted. Through continued inbreeding, the Asakami diluted their blood, becoming one with their former enemies. In contrast, the Asagami faction has remained human. To blend into modern society, they deny their demon-hunting heritage by trying to completely erase their telekinesis. Thus, when the family's heir, Fujino, was born, her father overdosed her with a medication that would seal away her powers. As a side effect, Fujino lost the ability to feel pain. This remained until, during high school, her powers were reawakened from being struck in the spine with a baseball bat. Initially, she used her telekinesis to murder the group of delinquents who assaulted her, but a near-death encounter from fighting Shiki Ryogi wound up returning her to her senses. She now lives as an ordinary student while possessing the incredible mystic eyes of distortion. The last demon hunter family I wish to cover is the Fujo clan. They come from a lineage of shrine maidens or Miko. Unlike the others, the fate of this clan differs from one world to the next. In one, the Fujos possess the psychic ability to see into the world of spirits. In another, they are actually a bloodline of mages who used curses. Hisui and Kohaku, who I mentioned before were synchronizers, actually belong to a distant branch family of the Fujos, one that broke a taboo and fell to ruin. In either case, the Fujo clan specialized in channeling spirits, often losing their sight in the process. Despite being demon hunters, this specialty had other uses that helped the family better transition to the modern era. Since then, they had mostly died out naturally, with the last surviving heir being Kirie Fujo, a sad woman who lost her parents and brother during a car accident. For 10 years, Kirie spent her life bedridden in a hospital, blinded due to a terminal illness. She likely would have stayed in this state till her death, if not for the intervention of Soren Araya. He awakened Kirie to her family's abandoned power, allowing her to project herself outside the hospital in a ghost body. Hoping to communicate with others, she possessed a series of schoolgirls, causing them to commit suicide by jumping off a nearby apartment complex. Despite knowing what happened to these girls, Kirie was so desperate to connect with friends that she continued to possess victims. And when this killing spree came to an end, she reasoned the only way to free herself from torment was to leap from the very same building. With Kirie's death, the Fujo clan is no more. In summation, the Demon Hunter organization is a group of 4 families who have long since hunted mixed bloods, humans who crossbred with Oni-kind. While the blood of demons made mixed bloods powerful, demon hunters rose to the occasion by developing different psychic abilities. With no clear victor to this conflict, the modern era set in first, rendering their respective powers irrelevant and even harmful. In order to blend in with society, both mixed blood and demon hunter families have tried to suppress themselves to varying degrees of success. Akiha Tono risks being overtaken by her demon blood, whereas Koma Kishima has already lost himself to it. Shiki Nanaya has gone on not to fight demons, but rather dead apostles. Shiki Ryogi and her husband Mikia break the cycle, with their daughter Mana having no supernatural powers whatsoever. Fujino Asakami has decided to live on despite her hardships, remaining in control of her powers without abusing them, whereas the Fujo clan has completely died off. I imagine it won't be long till both the demons and their hunters become nothing but a relic of the past, a sad story of 2 warring forces who trickled out with the times just like the gods. A while back, I spoke of the Ultimate Ones, powerful beings beyond our own Earth. One could certainly say such beings are alien, relative to ourselves anyway. It turns out that there are a handful of other interstellar creatures in this world that can be described as aliens. Thus, for our next lesson, I want to focus on clarifying the vague terminology of different extraterrestrial and even interdimensional beings that mages have come across. Before I go ahead and roll the credits, I want to give a special shout out to all my $10 and up supporters. Video Gamer 75, C. James Torley, Stephen Elak, Samuel Gersten, Otaku Mom, Jens Bauman, Mystic Samurai 1983, Freebrick, Cosmonaut, RNGer Shuffles 1498, Alexis Yukio Gomez Yamato, Johnny Tsunami, Link Pendrago, Caitlin P, Vladimir Rovna, Succubus Sakura, Normace, and SF Giants fan Mike. Thank you all so much. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoy this channel, help us grow by liking, commenting, sharing the video, subscribing to Otaku Daikun, and
most of all, smashing that notification bell so you don't miss out on all of our anime discussion, lore, or Let's Play content.
you can support us directly through Patreon, Subscribestar, or our YouTube membership, all of which come with benefits like exclusive vids and early access.
As always,
Celebrate your fandom!